Hey, and welcome to the show. This show is brought to you by Patreon members like you.
Thank you for being a Patreon member.
As a Patreon member, you get a video of the podcast that we put out twice a month.
Now, on with the show.
Hey, there we go. All right.
See?
Yeah.
That is better.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, all right, we're back and we're on the right page this time. That's always good. Hey, all right, welcome back, or welcome to the show, or however you want to cut it. But yeah, our bad, or my bad, somebody's bad.
Alright, now I can't find it.
Alright, shout out. Let us know where you're from. Peru, Northern Indiana. That was India. No, this wasn't Apple. This was just straight up me. Cincinnati, 38 in Ocala. Yuck. That's not good.
Yeah.
Let's go to the home. Ah, there it is. Okay. Yo, coming at y'all from Hampton, Ontario, Canada, eh? So nice. Now we're on 5-star. Yep, I know. New York is here. Kentucky is here.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah.
It's got nothing to do with them. It's just my brain. Connecticut, Trinidad. What's going on? It's bloody. Well, snowing here. Oh my gosh.
Highway US 19.
No, nothing going here. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. No doubt about it. Yeah. It's been a really long day.
New York.
And it's already Monday. Wow, a Dodge Viper. It is a Dodge Viper, and it has been a major pain in the butt.
Michigan is in the house.
What's up, Scott? Portland.
Portland.
Yeah, whatever. Not Portland. Port Angels. Angels? Oh Jesus, I'm doing
Okay.
it. Cleveland.
Here we go again. That's right. Dropping my DM 608 for a Helix DSP 0.3.
Okay. I mean, that's what happens. You both look tired. It's been a very exhausting day.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, while you guys are still chiming in, let's get some of this out of the way. Let's take it over here to the laptop and let's look at the Clean Wire Club. That's right, 12-volt Clean Wire Club today. Fernando, you picked a nice one. This was a good one. I mean, I'm sure it makes Steve very happy, but look at that, man. That's an obscene amount of fuse holders. Makes me proud to see that. Who brought us this one?
Ray Bimbley.
Good enough.
Yeah, Ray. He does like Jeeps, SPL stuff. It's crazy. Right?
Well, this looks phenomenal. So, way to go, man.
That looks cool, right?
It does look extremely cool.
I like the zip ties. They don't go straight. They just go like
it's
an angle.
It's every two.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. I always like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jeff, I got the pics, and it was a different model.
Different model, yes. Different door. This one has
This one has the Suckfest.
What's up, Jeff?
Let's just call it what it is. Also, let's head over here to mobilesolutions-usa.com. That's right. The Wire Ruler, D-Wire Ruler, is available now for purchase. That's right. These guys right here to make your wiring installation so much better. If you are interested in picking it up, we're not selling them here. These are samples that we created to do finals and whatnot. You do have to pick it up through mobilesolutions.com. They are the reseller of these products. As you can see, there's Fernando's thumb there, some wiring I've done in the past, and there's all 5. I don't know why I said 3. All 5 of the colors, all lined up and ready to go. So if you guys are interested in making your wiring better, or just having an awesome good time with zip ties and whatnot, make sure you go and pick up the Wire Ruler.
Yeah.
You can get them. They come as 2 pieces. You get a short piece and a long piece. They snap together to make a really long piece. They're $24.99, or if you want, you can pick up 2 for $40. So you can get them in multiple colors. So thanks so much, you guys, for having fun with that. This is all designed in-house. This is something that both Fernando and I have worked pretty hard on to come out with. That's why they have the 5-star logo on them. That's why if you want one, you should pick one up.
It's a 2000 model Viper.
Yeah, that one is.
This one is 15?
2015, yeah.
2015.
Yeah, he knows that because he was the one that looked.
Oh, that's
and
right.
then one last housekeeping thing we need to pick up is AudioControl. We'd like to thank them for sponsoring the show today. They are making some awesome products for both home and car, but we're going to concern ourselves with the car. Right now, one of the new things to come out is the all-weather series amplifiers, the ACX. These are IP6 rated, which means pretty much you can get them wet, and they're not going to have any issues. They make a 300 by 4, this guy right here, as well as a 300 by 1. The controls are mounted up underneath this panel here. They are available, and they are pretty nice. So definitely check those out at audiocontrol.com. We do have one, so we will pull it out of the box a little bit later in the show and show it to you guys.
We have to.
We have both, and we'll play with them later.
Jason Deagles, what's up, man? Robert Van Hoyt. David. What's being done to the Viper?
Oh, wow. Joe's calling me right when we go live. This is getting a 5-channel amp that's going to run a set of active speakers up front. It's getting a Pioneer radio, the big floating screen one, so that we can mount it off to the side. He's getting a set of the Kenwood little 2.5-inch speakers to go on the rear deck. Yeah, so right now it's just kind of in pieces at the moment. We really haven't gotten too far on and a backup camera, which took a good portion of today. Everything on these cars is very difficult to work on. Let's just leave it at that. And so it took a long time to get a very short distance today. But we do have a working plan. We'll show you guys some more tomorrow once we actually get some stuff going in and running along. Oh, there we go. There's the amplifiers. We should unbox one. Why don't you unbox one? Or I'll unbox one while you read a question. All right, go ahead.
Question. If the T harness for my application doesn't exist, do you know any resource for finding usual connectors to fab my own?
Yes.
Or to create my own? It's a 16-pin Land Rover Jaguar amp harness.
Alright, so with that in mind, I move the plus button here. What year is it?
I don't know what year. It's a 16-pin plug.
That doesn't help me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what year is your Land Rover. So.
Alright, so let's head over here to the laptop for a minute.
What's up, Luis?
This is MetroOnline.com. Alright, so if you come in here, and I don't know what year your car is, but let's just pick a 2014, and we'll come over here and we'll pick a BMW, and then we'll pick a 328i. We'll get parts. Let's see what's listed. I picked a really bad one.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. All right, so let's change that to a Chevrolet, and then we'll.
Mr. Chris Bannett.
Hey. Okay, let's see what this has. Get parts. What I wanted to show you is. All right, so that's into the radio. So these are these are harnesses, okay, this is the male version of the harness. Now, not every car has a male and female version of it. However, 70 dash. As you can see here, these 70s are all into the car. And if you find a 71, these are into the back of the radio. So sometimes there are harnesses that aren't listed for your car, but are the car harnesses. So like, for example, this is a older European style adapter, and it's available. And what you do is you take the 70 and you take the 71, and between the two of them you can make a harness. Usually you're going to need two 70s just to fill in all the holes. For some reason the 71s usually come all pinned. But you can use those to create a T-harness. That's what we would do.
Alright.
the wall is empty right now. We're kind of between remodels and trying to figure out what I want to do there.
All right, let's read this one real quick because I'm trying to get the other ones back. I know you covered this multiple times, but I'm running a D6 1200 and then LC1 1500. Also running an Epicenter. Where does the Epicenter fall in line as far as the signal goes?
So you're going to come out of the D6 1200 and you're going to leave the crossover off. Hold on a second. Can we set that over there? Thanks.
See it.
What's that?
No.
No, I was just going to come over here and do this. Hey, it's a new GarageBand. Remind me to shut this off because this is going to rail my system. D6
Yeah.
1200.
Yes.
Alright, let's shrink it back down. Alright, give me 1 second here, guys. And alright, so everyone always asks about the Epicenter, where it goes, and whether you have an AudioControl amplifier or somebody else's, if it's got a DSP, it really doesn't matter. It all works the same. And here's what we're going to do. So let's go back to the laptop view, and we'll turn this on. We'll come here to the bottom corner. Input view, you're looking at, let's say you have channels 1 through 4 for your input. Your output, line out is this one. So let's say this is subwoofer. What we want to do is, let's say that's going to get fed off of 1, or you have a non-fading. Either way, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, however you want to do that. Over here, you're going to come to the crossover. This is where the important part starts. We want to just leave the crossover maxed out. We don't want the actual crossover on at all. There should be no low-pass crossover coming out of this. So that RC output, the line out is going to be a full range, or as full range as it could possibly be. In this case, on an AudioControl, 25 to 20 is as full range as it can be. If you want to, you can even go 12 dB to whatever turns you on. Doesn't matter. That is going to get fed out to your sub-amplifier, and then you're going to use the crossover and your sub-amp to actually be your crossover. But you're going to come out of the output into the input of the Epicenter, out of the Epicenter into your 1500, and then dial the 1500's crossover on. That's it. So any DSP you're using, or EQ, or whatever it is, it's that part right there. Just leave this portion off, or turn it up as high as it can go. So for example, if let's say this only goes up to 200 or whatever, then just max it out to 200. And that's the signal you're going to have to. You need at least like 160 hertz on down for it to work properly. That's
All right.
it.
The Fox box for the F-150 is 2 cubic feet. Two P310s require 3 cubic feet. You ever use these combinations with no issues?
Fox box and P3s?
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite combinations. Get the grills. You're going to want the grills.
Yeah,
okay?
but we never have...
No problems whatsoever.
Plenty loud.
It's upside down, by the way.
No, it's not.
It's totally upside down.
No.
I know. It's
No,
totally
not.
Marty Dean in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Hey.
Can I use my Morel crossovers, bi-amp capable, and an active front stage without my Helix DSP? I mean, I guess a bi-ampable crossover, as long as you have 4 channels of signal going to it, then you can do whatever you want with it. The DSP is only going to add EQ and time delay, and obviously maybe crossover if you need it. But to use a bi-amp feature on a crossover, you have to have however many channels you're trying to bi-amp. So most of the time a bi-amp is 4 channels, 2 left, 2 right, 2 mid, 2 tweeter, and for example this car right here, we're using it bi-amped because we're going to run a 1005 to power the front stage. So we'll have channels 1 and 2 on the tweeters, channels 3 and 4 on the mid bass. This does not have a 10-time multiplier switch, and we're not using a DSP, so we're going to be going through the passive crossovers, using them because they're bi-ampable for our high-pass crossover, and that'll be fine. And also provide a top for the mid bass. Magical.
Marty Dean is coming to
early
town.
next year. Kind of nice. Do sealed box see more impedance box rise than ported? My AudioControl ACM 1.3 or overheats on a DVC forum. Any tricks using box rise to pull less current heat? Box just might be too small. I mean, that's really what it is. Whether it's ported or sealed, if it's putting too much onto the woofer and it's causing the resistance to rise, it's just how it works. So yeah, box rise would definitely change the impedance. The other thing is obviously make sure your voltage is good going into the amplifier. So I would suggest while you're playing it, throw a digital multimeter onto that input, power input, and see what it's doing. Make sure that you're, where it needs to be.
All right, question. I have 12 and 24 dB switch on my JL Audio HD 604. I have a DSP to run my speakers active and my disputes.
I'm thinking about dip switches.
Okay. It says 24 dB. Do I leave my amplifier at 12 or drop my dB slope
on the
DSP? Yeah.
All right, so here's essentially what I think is happening. He's got a DSP and he's got an amplifier. So since the amplifier has the DSP built into it, I don't know which amp.
No, it's the HD 604. I have a.
Okay, so an HD doesn't have a DSP built into it, but he's got a DSP that's going into it, right?
On the DSP to 112, it's the same HD amp.
All right, well,
yeah.
here's what I think we're trying to talk about. If I have an amplifier, 6-channel in this case, and I have a DSP, what do I do with the crossovers on my amplifier? You turn them off. You don't want them. They don't do anything. They should not be on. Your DSP is going to go active into that and set all your crossovers. So if you can't turn them off, just like we were doing when we talked about the Epicenter just now, you want to put them high enough out of the way so that you can use the crossovers in the DSP, because those are more accurate than the ones in the amplifier, in the sense that unless you have some form of a tool like a CC1 to dial them in, there'd be no reason to use them. And you also don't want to set them both to 80, this one at 24 and this one at 12, because then you're going to be stacking crossovers and strange things will happen. You're going to be changing the slopes. You're crossing the streams at that point. So if you can turn off the crossovers on the amplifier, turn them off. You don't need them. If you can't turn them off, if you're trying to, let's say, get to 80 hertz, put this one way up as far as it'll go. Same thing with the tweeter and same thing with the mid. If it has a 10-time multiplier switch, definitely don't turn that on because you don't need it. You're using your DSP for it. Hope that helps.
If you could have one food for the rest of your life, what could it be?
No, he says, why would it be tacos?
Oh.
Because you can do everything with tacos.
That would be chicken.
I mean, yeah, but tacos, you can have chicken tacos.
Exactly.
But why would you want just chicken when you can have tachos? Because you could have chicken tacos, you could have pork tacos, you could have beef tacos.
Yeah, but
no, that's what he's saying. I mean, you're overthinking this. If
All right,
you just
question.
have chicken, then it's just boring as chicken every day. Welcome to my world.
No, not
okay,
really.
Go ahead.
My stereo overheats. When I buy the new one, it's same thing.
Then it's definitely not the stereo.
I upgrade the whole sound system. What do you think it can be?
Look, when it comes to something getting hot, there's only a couple things that cause things to get hot. Improper ohm load or resistance, meaning if there's resistance, more resistance than the product can handle, that's going to cause it to get hot, and it's going to cause it to shut off. Improper circulation, meaning that wherever it's mounted or whatever it's mounted in, doesn't provide adequate enough air, it heats up, it shuts off. Power, meaning you don't have enough of it, so the product is trying to draw more current, thus more voltage to keep it at the optimum voltage. Your amperage draw goes up. That was neat. Which makes the product more unstable, which means it's going to get hot quicker. So it's one of those things. That's it. That's all it can be. So you have to figure out which one.
All right. All right. How come they have AudioControl 5.600? I think I'm thinking that's the plate for the two ACMs, 300 and 300?
Oh, the 5.600?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the plate.
That's the plate?
Yeah, it's the plate for the ACMs.
Alright, so for the two audio control amplifiers, it's like the 4-channel and the 1-channel, but they don't have one for 2
Yes.
4-channel together.
Correct. Yes.
Well,
it was one of those last minute things that they came up with, just kind of like, hey, this is quick and easy, and they figured most people would just be using it as a small 5-channel amp.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thought process there. That was it. They just didn't want to go any further with it. I don't know if that panel even sold that well. So, I mean,
all right. I'm running millipro's 2-way components active up front and coaxials in the rear. For SQ and loudness, will you go with the D6-1200 or Forza bridge to the mids or the jail VXI channel?
I mean,
I'm comfortable with all 3 softwares.
Out of all of them, the AudioControl is going to have the most power. It's got 120 watts on all the channels. So I mean, if you're trying to just have the most amount of power, the Forza is going to be staggered power. Forza really, because it's a Prima product, really needs to kind of stay in that ecosystem of Prima. I mean, or speakers that are very efficient, because it's only 70 watts by 8, and it's like 110 or something like that. Not even that. I don't even think it's that, because I know it doesn't double its power. If you run it like the 2-channel, if you get the Prima 2-ohm speaker to go on channels 3 and 4 or 5 and 6, depending on what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, and the VXI is a little bit more power, obviously, than the Forza, I think. Might be about the same, but I mean, if you're going for power, go with the AudioControl.
Amplifier manufacturers tell me to run the ground to the battery, ground positive to the post. Since it's a GM truck, does that ground or power have to run through that sensor that the factory battery cable runs through?
We're talking about the ground sensor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I really don't have a good answer for that one, but yeah, it's
because every car is different.
Everyone's different. Every car's a little different. It's one of those things you just kind of keep an eye on if you're going to go around it. Yeah, some cars react very poorly. What they're talking about is there's like an amp clamp that goes onto the ground. Newer cars, it's actually built into the battery terminal, so you don't have to worry about it, because it's like main ground for the car, amp clamp onto the battery. So wherever you hook up is going to pass through the clamp. Older vehicles, it was just a little circle thing, and like you can't fit a 0-gauge through it or anything like that. So from what we've seen on the older vehicles, all of them that we've had to do after it, we've never seen any issues. We haven't had any problems. So,
all right.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike? I have an Access DSP for the new Premium Accord.
Yeah.
And running the XR 901.5. Do I need both of the bass knobs?
No, just pick one. Just pick which bass knob you like the most. The nice thing about the Access is that the bass knob is attached to the DSP, whereas on the 901.5, it's oddly enough on the back side of the amplifier, so it kind of like sticks out. So in that case, for that amplifier, I might look at using the Access bass knob. Rhode Island and Maryland in the house.
All right, talk about another Accord. For a 2018 Accord with the premium sound 10-channel speaker, what will be the best DSP amplifier for those 10 channels? Or should I get 2 separate amplifiers to get power to those 10 channels? Thank you.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna take this from a different look. So you buy a car and it's got 10 channels in it, all right? Regardless of whether it's an Accord or a Mitsubishi or a Chevy, it really doesn't matter. You got 10 channels. Let's look at those 10 channels for a minute and figure out what we're trying to do and how important it is and which ones are necessary. In that car, every speaker in the car is active. So that's the one thing we have to find out. Is every speaker active? In this case, yes. Now, how are we going to integrate into it? So if we're going to be using, let's say, the access piece because it's a newer record, or if we're just going to be using something like an LC1I because it's an older record and it's just a line level output, that's something we have to figure out. But if it's something that integrates in, if you go to the access piece, it's only going to give you 6 channels of preamp output. You're going to get front, rear, sub. Okay. So that's kind of the forethought. We have to figure out what's going on there. So without getting too crazy into that side, let's talk about everything else. Do we need an active front stage? We might, because like active front stage is all the rage. So we'll do a tweeter, mid, there's 4 channels. It has a center channel. And from the factory, the center channel, that's where all the GPS and that's where your Bluetooth phone calls come from. If we're doing a module that, you know, integrates into that and allows us to have an RC output, chances are good it's not upmixed. But if it's taking the outputs from left and right and moving them off to, I'm sorry, taking the center output and moving it off to left and right, then there's really no point in keeping the center channel unless we're not doing a DSP. If we're doing a DSP, set it up for a one-person car, super sexy, love it, yay. Or if you want to do a 2-seat car and you have something, a DSP that has an upmixer, or you're planning on using the factory upmixer, so there's where these things get weird, then you have to decide whether you need a center channel or not. Now, depending on which DSP you buy or what amplifier you buy, there's very limited options when it comes to just powering a center channel. That's why a lot of people just don't bother with it and they do a 1-seat tune, because you need a dedicated channel just for that, which usually means you need 2 channels, because amplifiers don't make like 7-channel amplifiers. There's only a handful of them. They do make them, there's only a handful. Now in the rear, it's there again a component, 4 channels back there, so it's an active rear. Well, that's ridiculous. So you really don't need active rears unless you're there again. Unless that's something you're trying to do. I wouldn't, but that's just me. So I would go from 4 to 2 channels there. Now on the previous Honda Accords, before the access piece was available, what we would do is we retain the center of the sub, left and right tweeter, left and right mid, and that would be the 6 channels that we would retain in order to get our system rocking and rolling and doing what we needed it to do. There again, you have to figure it out. If I don't have an answer for you other than just do some legwork there and figure out what channels you're trying to amplify. Something like a Forza, like we were just talking about, something like the VXI 8 channel. Kicker has an 8 channel. You could do 2 4-channels. One of the DSP, a 10-channel DSP would get you there, so like something like a DM810. 9 channels would be something like the Bit Nove. And of course there's lots of others. If you decided you want something on an upmixer, that's going to take you into a more expensive DSP. So like Helix makes upmixers, Audison makes upmixers, Moscone has upmixers, but those are all $1,000 DSPs. So it just really depends on what you're trying to do. That's it. That's all I got. What's up, everyone?
I have an old school Kicker ZX2500.1. I'm going to use it on a pair of Scars VXF12s. What do you think about this? What do you think about the amplifier?
I mean, it was a nice amplifier for its time.
And if it works, why
If
not?
it works, why not? I mean, what's the worst thing it's going to do? You're going to blow it up and it's going to die. I mean, if it does that, you know.
Do you recommend a oscilloscope for the enthusiast sound installer?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you recommend an oscilloscope for the enthusiast?
Yes, why wouldn't I? Oscilloscopes are relatively inexpensive nowadays. I mean, you can get into a nice oscilloscope for about 80 bucks. You can get a nice color one for even less than that. We had the 211 here somewhere, but I think I don't know where it went, so I don't know. I think I lost it. Happens. But yes, you can do more with an oscilloscope digital multimeter than just buying dedicated tools. So if you go out and buy what used to be called the Lumi, it's not the Lumi anymore. It's moved on to another name, but it's the same basic idea. It was a digital multimeter oscilloscope. It was 80 bucks. They still make one that's 80 bucks. But what you could do with that is so much. You can set your gains, you can check your battery voltage, you can check your resistance, you can, like everything we do in a car for 12 volts, relies on those two tools in conjunction with one another to do all kinds of magical things. So, yes, it'd be the best 80 bucks you spent. Now, obviously, you might not know how to use it, but you'll eventually figure it out.
All right. Hey, Dean.
Yes.
My husband is currently running 7-inch Kenwood XR in his 2018 Mustang. He wants better mid-bass. What will be the next step up from there?
So I mean, there are better like, you can get into like an 8-inch. If it's a 7-inch, you want more mid bass. So the nicest thing about the Kenwood is at the price point they're at, you get a decent amount of mid bass. The next step up from that is to be going into something like a higher end driver that's going to cost substantially more and also require more power. So for example, when you look at like a Kenwood 7-inch mid bass, for the price that it costs, it's not bad. To get better mid bass than that, maybe look at something like a set of Morels. They have like Virtus, and you have hybrids. You have the Focal Flax series driver and the K2s. But these are the things that you have to jump up to get into that stronger mid bass. You need a bigger driver, a more beefier driver, something that has like some girth to it and will take a bunch of power. So
also the
Milli Pros.
Milli Pros. No, I was thinking about Audio Frog GV60s. They have tons of mid bass, of course.
But there again, you're also jumping in price. So they're all those speakers are all about the same price. You're going to spend a lot more money to get a lot more mid bass. It's not like it's not one of those cool things where it's like, hey, $100, you're good to go. You know. But the other thing too is how much power does he have on those? That would be the first thing.
Right. If they just run him from
if you're
start,
just running 50 watts to him, well, the first thing I'd do is get a bigger amp.
Yes, totally. Or
Bigger
maybe
amp.
they not have an amplifier.
Yeah.
Car change from Optima to Genesis sedan. Any suggestion to place amplifiers? 2 ACM 4.300s and a 4.800.
No.
Genesis sedan.
Maybe on the sides. You know.
Yeah.
Probably on the sides.
I mean, it's a sedan. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Probably be on the sides.
It gotta be on the sides. So maybe if you're gonna, get rid of the spare.
Want to buy an amp for some subs with at least 3,000 watts under $500. Any recommendations? I do not. However, what you might want to do is head over to Big D Wiz's channel, Williston Audio there, and check out some of the more reasonably priced amplifiers that he's dynoed.
Arturo, what's up, man?
The only 3,000 watt amplifier that we've tested, I don't know what the retail price on it, but it is this guy right here. And it was an exceptional amplifier.
Bill Freeman, what's up? Butch.
Here it is.
Anthony Carranza, what's up, man?
It was the Sound Digital. This is the prototype version of it right here. But this is the Sound Digital 3K. We made a custom cover for it because it's a prototype. But this is now available. This was the only 3K that we've ever played with.
Have you ever worked on a car that the wheel was on the right side, and is the installation any different?
Yes, we have. We just did a van, a little minivan the other day. No, I mean, you run into the same problems. They're just now on the opposite side of the car. So, I mean, that's, in this case, there was other things that we had to worry about, but
sometimes you gotta run the power. I mean, you put the amplifier on the passenger side, and you still have to go into the driver's side to go through the firewall. So you just
it just depends.
Depends, yeah.
It depends if they move the battery from one side to the other. So there's a lot of goofy stuff that goes on there. All right, we're to the halfway point. Let's take a quick break here and grab the camera, grab the Fernando cam. And we would like to thank our show sponsor, which is AudioControl. They now have released these. These are the ACX-300.1s. These are the IP6 rated marine amplifiers, or ATVs, things that are going to get wet and go crazy. This is the 301. They also make a 304, but what you'll notice on here is they have these cool ends, and they do come with the connectors so that you can make your own, but everything is designed to click into place. This cover here comes off, and you can access all your controls underneath it. This is a 300 watt amp, and it is built like a brick. So this was designed to take some abuse, put it in your quad runners, and have all kinds of fun with it.
So this.
And they're both identically the same size, so that makes all your guys' OCD pretty happy. But yes, thank you so much for AudioControl for sponsoring the show. Also pick up your DIY roller on Mobile Solutions. two for 40,
what a
man.
Commercial, man.
2 for 40. The volume knob is farther away. Do you use the new Zapco ST line of amps? And if so, what do you think? I have not used them, Anthony. I'm sorry. Not yet. What's a good speaker? What's a good speaker for a Town and Country 2015? And can I keep the HDMI in the back with a new DVD radio? As far as what's a good speaker for it, it's a 6.5 more than likely, or 6x9. You need to find out what size it is. There's plenty of affordable speakers in that range. If you're not looking to go crazy, depending on what kind of radio you buy, it's gonna just, you know, for example, if you look at like a Pioneer radio, buy some Pioneer speakers. Why not? Or look at some Kicker CS or KS speakers. Both of them are extremely affordable. Now that that HDMI connection, that's gonna be a problem for you. If the HDMI goes to the overhead monitor and plays on that overhead monitor, more than likely, if you get the right harnesses for it, which if you head over to something like idata.com, you'll be able to find the right T harnesses and everything, all the pieces to get it to work, but it will not plug into the back of the back of the aftermarket radio. Some radios now, for example, like a Pioneer 4660, yes, the NEX 4660 has a micro HDMI on the back of it. It does not come with an adapter. However, you can get one to go from micro to regular HDMI as a short chassis radio. That's probably going to be the most reasonably priced radio with an HDMI input. If you're trying to have that HDMI input play up front for some reason, it's not just gonna work. I can tell you that right now. It's not gonna work. And if you're trying to put the HDMI input on that and have something play off of that HDMI input into an overhead, that's not going to work either because it's not a pass-through. It doesn't have HDMI in, HDMI out. The only radio currently available that has HDMI input and output is the Alpine Halo 309, which is the big floating screen one that has HDMI in, HDMI out. So you'd be able to go to an HDMI. You'd be able to put an HDMI in and then have that go to another HDMI input device. It's a lot of fun.
Not really.
No, it's not.
Alright, thinking about swapping my Tempo Ultras 6x9s for a set of hybrids 6.5s.
Ooh.
How much, if you any mid-bass, do you think I'm lose?
I don't think you're gonna lose any. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be fine. I don't think you're gonna be like, oh damn. I think everything you're gonna pick up in the mid-range, you know, because the 6x9 is one thing. It's like you have a sliding scale. You can only, if you're gonna put out a lot of mid-bass, then the mid-range might be a little lacking. I don't see this as being a problem. I think everything, once it's in and playing, you're gonna be like, oh damn, like that middle area where there is kind of a hole that you haven't noticed is gonna be filled, and you're gonna be like, you won't even worry about it. You're like, doesn't even matter. As far as the Infinity references speakers, Anthony, we don't really do much with them, so I haven't had a chance to work with them. In the past, when I've worked with them, they've been good. I mean, it's a nice speaker for sure.
Yeah.
They've never not sucked. Let's just say that.
I bought Tempo Ultras for my new Accord. Do I need custom speaker brackets?
No, you're just going to have to cut the doors, and you're going to need a 1/2-inch spacer.
Yeah, I mean, some form of a bracket, yeah.
Yeah, you'll need a 1/2-inch spacer, possibly. You're going to have to cut the doors. All right. Is it hard to gain match three-way with 2 amps, 4900, 125, 100? Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. All right, so the question is, gain matching a 3-way active set. Is it hard? No. gain matching is actually quite simple, regardless of what it's on. Technically, gain matching is just trying to figure out what output voltage I'm trying to get to. So, what I would do is I'd figure out where each individual amplifier clips at. Alright, so get in there and set your gains either 0 or -5, whichever one you prefer. If it's coming off of an aftermarket radio, -5 is fine. So, you know, set each amplifier to clip or distortion or whatever you want to call it. Okay. And then do your tune. More than likely, the reason why you want to set it up for its maximum output is because you're going to be turning it down. You're going to turn it down. There's no reason to keep them up all the way. But you need to find out where your maximum output is at. Then you can go back in. More than likely, you're going to go in and you're going to want to turn the tweeters down a little bit because they're going to be right in your face. They're going to be loud. And you're like, I don't need that. You may want to turn the mid-range down to make the mid-bass seem like it's louder. I see you're doing a staggered power, which is great. But you're not going to go in and gain match. So, for example, if you want to make sure there's 90 watts coming out of the front 2 channels and 90 watts coming out of 3 and 4 and 100, you're not going to do that because it's not how it's going to play. It's not going to play like that. You just need to figure out what your maximum output is and then go down from there. And then how do you do that? Is with your ears and an RTA. I mean, really, at the end of the day. But very rarely, actually never, would we sit there and go, this needs to be at 24 volts, this needs to be at 24 volts, this needs to be at 36 volts. We would never do that because you wouldn't do it that way. That is a warhorse behind us. It's a thank you gift from Kicker for a documentary we did. It's signed by Steve Irby. It is not functional. It is purely cosmetic and for fun. They removed the preamp stage out of it. So it's just like a really cool, like, hey, thanks guys, and it's super cool.
All right, the subwoofer that I have is the 6.5, Martin.
It's the Ground Zero 6.5 loaded enclosure that we just shot a video on.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago or last week or something like that.
What are your thoughts on the K2s?
Love them. Love them. They're great. I mean, if you got the money for K2, let me tell you this. K2 is a unique speaker. It is. It's as far as Focal is concerned, it's my favorite Focal speaker made to date. Every iteration of it has just been exceptional. I feel it's their benchmark, even though they have the Utopias. I'm not a fan. I like the K2s. To me, that's their best speaker that they have. If you can afford them, you should have them.
2016 Silverado, single cab, 2 3/4 in the dash, and a set of 6x9 components for the doors. Running the 4-spot on the kicker key. Best placement of the tweeter for the time alignment. KS series speakers.
Best place for time alignment? I mean, the whole thing is that it's going to figure it out for you. I mean, I don't know.
You don't have to do nothing. If it has a kicker key,
it's gonna figure it out for you.
Yeah,
I mean, best place for tweeters. I mean, it's kind of like where they're gonna fit. I mean, you don't want them like too far. You want them up high. Okay, you want them up high to make the soundstage up higher. If you put them down too low, well, then your soundstage is low. So if you're trying to get a soundstage up on the dash, you want to put your tweeters up high.
And you can put it in the door if you're not in the A-pillar.
Or the dash or whatever. But yeah, it's you want them up high. While using the DSR, 1, do I turn the crossovers on my amp all the way up? I cannot shut them off. Yes, just like we were talking about earlier. If you can't shut them off, turn them the other direction so that they don't interfere with the crossovers that you're going to be setting in the DSP you're using. So always just move them as far away from that point so that they're a moot point and they don't affect what you're trying to do.
Have you ever stripped a set screw on an amplifier? I just solder the ends on the 4-gauge thing. Want to buy a ton of ferrules for it too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes. And not just on an amplifier.
Oh yeah, it just happens. I mean, they're there. I mean, they're, you know, and then you get one of those older amplifiers and the guys like, or you just get one of those that just has, like, you know, the smallest, crappiest Allen screw. It's just, yeah, I mean, all that dumb stuff happens. Eric, I think Pioneer speakers are overrated. Okay. I mean, all of them? I mean, I don't know about those TSAs. They're not rated too high.
No.
I mean, they're just speakers.
Yeah. I mean, the new ones, they are over there. And
the Z's, I mean, you know, the thing you have to remember about Pioneer when it comes to speakers, they're a speaker manufacturer, okay? That's what they got started. That's what they do. They make a ton of speakers for a lot of people. The new speaker that we reported on a couple weeks ago that they're coming out with, that they're not even going to release here in the United States.
Oh, they decide not to?
I thought they were going to bring it. No, they're not going to bring it in the United States. No, they never did. It's going to be strictly Japan. You know, there again, I get it. If you're not on my team, you suck. Oh, the entry-level ones suck. I mean, it's just they're not overrated by any stretch of the imagination. They're just, you know, it's a $49 speaker. You go with God and pray. I mean,
that's it. You just plug it in and that's it. Yeah. All right, hang on.
That's like asking, have you ever put a drill through a speaker? Not the drill, just the tip. Just the tip. Just the tip. The whole drill, never. But the tip, yes. You know, ow.
2008 Equinox LT with the stock Pioneer system. You guys know where could I find the specs for the factory amplifier? Looking to replace the rear subwoofer using the factory amplifier. I want to get the best bang for the buck with the power available.
Go ahead. I wasn't listening. I'm sorry, I was doing something else.
All right. I was not even listening either.
You read it and didn't even listen?
No.
All right, 2008 XC stock Pioneer system. We've done that one, I thought.
So, okay, so if you're going to replace the rear factory subwoofer, I mean, Kicker makes the 8-inch or the 6.5-inch.
Well,
but here's I don't know if it's going to fit.
Yeah, exactly. So what I would recommend doing, and because this one is a fun one to get out, is take the car apart, pull the factory woofer out. If you have a car stereo shop in your part of town, by all means, take the woofer, walk in there, and see what they have in stock. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to do some legwork. I mean, when we get a car that comes in and we're trying to figure out what size woofer to put in it, fortunately for us, we have a lot of woofers in stock. We just kind of like move around and figure out what works. You know, like if it's an 8-inch, you know, start with the Pioneer, see if it fits. If we have a little more room, we might jump up to a Kicker Comp. It just depends. So it's one of those things where you just kind of got to see what fits. And once you get the factory one out, you can tell. The other thing too is you need to figure out, is it a dual voice coil? Is it a single voice coil? Jeep uses a quad coil. It's a four coil subwoofer. Yeah, so good luck replacing that. Question someone asked about the RTA that we use. We have a couple of them. The PAA3 has been replaced by the PAA3 Plus, which is located right here. They do not make the one that we use anymore. It has been discontinued. We do have 3 of them, and we are excited, and we will not be getting rid of them. But this is the one that replaced it, which we also have that one too. And of course, we have the DM RTA. And then there's an NTI Mini, also that is up there. These are expensive. I'll tell you right now, they're about, if you just buy the regular DM RTA with not the whole kit, it'd be better money spent, because it's probably $100 difference between the two. And actually right now the DM RTA might actually be cheaper than the handheld because of all the import-export tariffs.
That's a Viper behind you?
Yes, Ada, it is. Yay me. Okay, hey, from the UK. That's what she said. Hi, Ada. Cool, thanks.
It is a 5-volt output stereo way better than the 4-volt output stereo, or not really?
The age-old question. Voltage better than voltage. You know, 4-volt was kind of the thing, and the problem you run into is 5-volt better. I'm going to say yes, and let me explain why. Most manufacturers have kind of figured out that everyone thinks that 4-volt is the best. So when they designed the preamp section, they put the label on there that says 4-volt. How they get to that 4-volt, that's the fun part. Some of them will only get to 4 volt if you turn the bass and treble up. Some of them will never get to 4 volt at all, ever, no matter what, unless you've clipped the shit out of the radio and it's just like you're arc welding the speaker terminals. So with that in mind, when you look at the manufacturer that puts 5 volt on their radio, it's a 5 volt output. And it might be a little less, but you're guaranteed to get a good, clean 4 volt all the way up and out. Whereas on the other, you're not. Okay, so if you get to 4 volt, you're more than likely already clipping the outputs of the preamp section. So I guess look at it like that. So that's why it's better.
3/4, Thomas. We use 3/4 for the 0 gauge.
Oh, the whole?
TechFlex.
TechFlex, 3/4. You can do half, but if you're doing straight runs, half is fine. But if you want it to bend, 3/4 is a little easier to use. Are you going to do the 24 days of Christmas deals? No deals. No. We kind of gave up on all that nonsense. It's too hard. It's pulling things out of polls. But we are going to be giving away a bunch of free stuff. So that's a little better. So starting next week, next Monday, the 7th, we're going to start the 12 days of Christmas, which is actually like the I don't know, 20. I don't know. We're going all the way to the 31st. So we'll be giving stuff away all the way between now and the 31st. It's going to start next Monday. Don't worry, we'll tell you all about it if you haven't figured it out yet. But we have gifts to give away every day of the week. We're going to have a calendar up here shortly for you guys to peruse over. It's going to be pretty simple. Monday's going to start with Helix. It's going to be a huge Helix. We're going to have Dub Docs in here from Mobile Solutions Calgary, MSC, who is the Helix rep for the United States. So if you live here in the United States, you will be eligible to win it. You'll have to answer a question or do a task. In this case, their task is going to be going on to their website, going to their dealer page, dealer locator, type in your address or whatever, and find out what is the closest dealer to your area. All right? So, and they're giving away a huge system, but they just want to figure out where all you fan guys are, where everyone is at. You know, let's just kind of get an idea. Yeah. You're going to send us an email, and then at 5 o'clock, we're going to shut off the email, and then we're going to take, we're going to pick one guy, and they're going to find out. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We have so much stuff to give away. So AudioControl is a sponsor of the show tonight. AudioControl gave us a ton of stuff to put away. Yeah. So we have an LC 1.800, a DM608, a couple LC2i Pros, some LC1i. Morel's a sponsor. We got a couple sets of components. We got a Hagtalar. We got an Alpine. We got Pioneer. We got Jensen. We no Audison Hertz equipment.
No.
Not everyone was on board. You know? It's okay.
Yeah, but we have Kenwood, Pioneer, JVC,
Stinger.
AudioControl, Stinger.
Yeah, actually, we just got the High 10, updated High 10 sitting right here. They came and swapped it out today. They're like, we want to make sure you get the newest one.
Rockford.
Morel has gift packs that doesn't involve a hat, but they have like a mug and hand sanitizer and a keychain, and so we have like 3 Morel gift packs to give away. So that's pretty cool. And you were asking earlier about oscilloscope. Todd Ramsey with Ramsey Associates donated 2 of his oscilloscopes, along with a ton of like hats, and there's a couple big guy jackets, old school big guy jackets.
Pry tools.
Like there's an extant old school big guy jacket. Yeah. So someone's gonna be really happy to get that. We have pry tools. He also, God, dude, I don't know where he got all these vinyl pry tools or nylon pry tools, but he's got like, I don't know, pairs and pairs and sets of vinyl pry tools. We're going to give those away. Speaking of pry tools, we have the awesome metal pry tool from iData. We're going to be giving those away. Sony, full system from Sony, full system from Rockford. Kicker, we have a key, we have a set of speakers.
Frostbite is
they're gonna donate a box for the Sony system. We'll have a 212 box. JVC Kenwood, we have Kenwood gave us a ton of dash cams. We have a ton of JVC gave us a radio. Crash we got an amplifier. We got an air freshener.
JBL donated
we got a set of speakers.
Yep.
So there's a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah.
The Jensen is the new cool one. That it's the big floating one with the DVD player. So.
Car fabricators in the house.
Hey.
What's up, Mark?
So it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be a lot to give away. But yes, the calendar will be out here shortly. That's my project tonight, is to go finish working on that. We have, I don't know. What else we got here? Is that it? I think that's it. Let's go back to the laptop real quick. If you're here on the laptop where we just were at, that's because we were on DNF Tool Drawer. That's right, DNF Tool Drawer is a place you can go find all the cool tools that we use in our installations. That's right, everything that we use. Wrong, too far back. There we go. So meters and probes. These are the units right here, the Phonics. Those are discontinued, so unfortunately this is an older picture. But it's all located here. Teespring! Teespring.com/store/5stars. Place you can go and pick up a cool hoodie. So this is a non-zipper hoodie. You got this in the front, this in the back. You got one of these, right?
Yep.
So you can pick one of these up for 29 bucks and stay warm all winter. We'd like to thank AudioControl. Make sure you head over to AudioControl.com where you can pick up those new marine amplifiers, the ACX-300.4 and the 300.1. I want to dunk it in a bucket of water. There's a picture right there of all the gain controls and fun stuff like that. Lots of fun, guys. It's Monday. You know what that means.
You gotta work tomorrow.
We gotta work tomorrow. We got a whole another week of this crap. So, oh, trust me, the giveaway list just goes on and on.
Oh, yes.
So, guys, it's been fun. It's been real. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Oh, and before I forget, one last place. I don't know how I forgot that. Oh my gosh, because this is the one that matters. This is us. This is our tool. This is us. This is the thing we made. So make sure you head over to mobilesolutions-usa.com and pick up yourself the D-Wire ruler. That's right. You got to get one of these guys because they're awesome and they're made by us. That's them. I mean, if you just want it to hang on the wall, I mean, you know, so that you get reminded that I should always do amazing wiring.
But you can do this. Stop.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. No. Not made to smack people with. Definitely not made to smack. Well, you remember what happened when you smack people when you're in high school or middle school or grade school? You broke the ruler, and you will break the ruler. It's not made for smacking people.
But then you buy more. All right, guys.
All right, so buy the 2 for $40 and smack the crap out of somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
guys.
Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, you guys have a great rest of your week. We will see you back here, well, tomorrow on Instagram.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.